let's talk about outsourcing time wasters.
Okay. So time wasters are different things for different people, but you know it when you feel it. You know it when you're in the work and you're feeling like, this is such a drain of my energy. This feels like it's just not a really good use of my time, but I have to get this work done. So outsourcing time wasters is thinking strategically about what are the things that I'm doing that I could easily and maybe even inexpensively outsource that are just not a really good use of my time. And a good example that I have of that is, if you're not already doing this, hiring a virtual assistant. And you can go to lots of different platforms to find freelancers that can do this work. And you decide what it is that you need assistance with. It could be a variety of different things. It could be responding to emails. It could be scheduling. It could be lots of different types of work. But paying for a virtual assistant to take, even if it's just 25% of your tactical work off of your plate, could be one of the smartest investments that you make to free up your time for more strategic work.
So let me ask you this. How can business owners identify which tasks or functions are best suited for outsourcing? How can they identify the time wasters?
Yeah.
Is there a tool above feeling that I'm not doing what I like, or how do you know?
Right. Well, if you are able to it could be just something simple like keeping a journal or just keeping track of where are some of the things, kind of repetitive or repeated tasks that you're doing, that you find you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and it's taking a certain chunk of time, let's say, in your schedule. It's noticing where that time is spent, especially when it's repeated tasks. That's usually a pretty good clue of that's an area where you might be able to get help from a virtual assistant. Another thing to be looking for is anything that you're doing that is, we said earlier, the difference between working on the business or working in the business. So when you're working on the business, and that could be things like doing market research, seeing how your competitors are maybe using new strategies that are set to outpace what you're doing. It could be looking at what are the trends in your industry and how are you going to prepare for changes ahead. That's smart strategic work. That's a good use of your time. If you're just doing all this kind of day-to-day, managing operational work, that's the kind of work that is not going to be the best use of your time.
But I want to talk to you about a bigger problem.
Yeah.
I have a virtual assistant,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still not doing what I should be doing. And I've been reminded, now that you talk about it, I'm reminded of a book I read by Dan Martell. I don't remember the name of the book.
Okay.
But he gave this tool where you track what you do during a day. I think every 15 minutes. You look at what you do and you give it a score. I don't remember exactly. I think it's 4. It goes. There's four ways you can look at it. Is it draining my energy, or is it giving me energy? Is it making me money, or is it taking me money? And if it's both making me money and giving me energy, I should be doing it. If it's any other thing, then I should delegate it.
Yep.
What do you think about this?
Well, I love that. And it makes me think of an exercise that I've done so many times in my career. It's usually with a team, with a group, but you can do it for yourself as well. And it's evaluating your work and looking at what should I start, and continue. But sometimes we forget that there are things that we can just say, I'm not going to do that anymore. You just make a choice. This isn't adding value. I'm stopping this work, or it's not adding value for the business. And then you look at, okay, well, what are the things that are working well? So making money for the business, giving me energy, that's continue, right? And maybe prioritize. Then you've got this other area, and that's start. And if you're thinking, I'm already overwhelmed. I'm already so busy. I don't have time to start something else. Well, this is where the delegation and the outsourcing, kind of come together. If you're delegating and for development and you're freeing up time, you've got to think about, well, what do I want to start doing? Because if you don't do that, your schedule is just going to fill up with other stuff that it maybe is not going to be that really important strategic work. So the best leaders that I've known in my career have very intentionally blocked out time on their calendars to do strategic work, and they honor that time. And I'm not talking like an hour here and there. I'm talking like a whole day at a time.
Would you define strategic work as starting things that I should be starting things that I want to start?
Well, strategic work is all about the work that is not focusing on managing today, the day-to-day operations. It's about growing the business for the future. So strategic work is work where you are either researching, evaluating, planning, but it is all based on what the business needs to do next. What the business, how you're going to survive with changes that are coming your way, with understanding what your competitors are doing so you can outpace them. So it's not just writing a business strategy, but it's making the time to execute that business strategy. And you can't do it in a vacuum either. This is something you should be doing with either your, top leaders in your business, or you can do this with other entrepreneurs, other business leaders, even people outside of your field to gain totally different perspectives and totally different ideas. But you have to make the time.
This is so important that we defined it, because I think people need it so much to understand what is strategic work. Okay, I want to do things that's important to the business, so I don't want to just continue doing things that are not important. But what exactly am I going to do when I have all this free time? And you just defined it, and I think that's pulling. That's has a magnetic power to know that, okay, I'm going to do all this important stuff that I now understand what I should do. I think this is very important, and a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't really understand, okay, I'm going to have time for strategic work, but what exactly is that?
Yeah.
The definition you just gave, that's spot on.
Let's dig into that some more. Let's give some more examples. So let's say you've blocked off this Friday in your calendar to do strategic work. Okay, what are you going to do? Well, first of all, a good place to start is to ask, do you have a strategic plan? Like, do you even have a business strategy? Is it written down? Okay, you don't have to, if you don't have this, or you have some semblance of this, but it's not really fully clear, maybe there's an opportunity to revisit it, clarify it, but start with something simple like, what are the 3 goals, the 3 things that you want to achieve in your business in the next 3 to 5 years? And this shouldn't just be like, whatever comes to your mind. You got to go do some research. You got to figure out what's happening in my industry, what changes are ahead, what are my competitors doing. You got to talk to people, talk to your employees, get their input, get their ideas, and then get really laser focused on, these are going to be the 3 priorities that we are going to focus on for the next several years. And then you work backwards from there. Well, if these are the goals, how do we get there? You got to break it down into manageable, like actionable steps. It could be through projects. Okay, we're going to start a new project next month, and I'm going to assemble, these, people on my team to go work this project.
Hey, I'm interrupting just for a moment to say that if you're liking what you're seeing and you're getting value out of this, please subscribe to the channel, because the more subscribers we have, the better the tools, the strategies, and the knowledge we can provide to you. So thank you very much.